Hi guys, my name is Dagobah the Orc. I'm not sure if you've noticed anything so far, but I am now his personal helper. Jay Nowak pulled me out of a gutter one day and taught me what it is like to live out throughout my future. And I'm now happy to say that I'm officially working with him. But he's got no idea that I'm actually going to do some of the work that he's been busy with. So, let's go ahead and talk about something on Survival of No Limits. Since Jay's not here, I can't imagine that he wouldn't mind me helping out a little bit, especially with all the things that we're going to be having together here on the channel. So, this is my first time actually trying to do something with the channel, so let's just get started. I believe that this right here is something that Jay uses to determine what subjects are to talk about next, and I can see the number 20, firearm checks. Okay. So, I guess that's pretty much what I'm going to have to talk about.
Hey, what are you doing?
No!
Seriously, dude, what the heck? Man. Wow, just... Okay, well... Okay. You're lucky this thing still works. Man. Okay. Just a little bit. Alright, there we go. Well, I'm very sorry about all that, but as you probably saw earlier, that was indeed someone new who's now working with me. Of course, well, this guy over here, this is an orc with pants known as Dagobah, and I don't know about you, but, well, that certainly was not intended in any possible way, so I might as well just point out right away that, well, this is someone who certainly shouldn't be doing my own work with me, but, well, of course this guy was onto something, so Survival of No Limits, number 20, okay. Well, I mean, so sorry to interrupt that part, but anyways, I'm going to have to restart all over from the beginning. Well, firearm checks are indeed pretty important when it comes to different things regarding how you own a firearm or how your background check is taking place. Of course, if there's one thing that I'm very familiar with, it's the fact that, well, firearms are indeed becoming a huge selling point here in this day and age. Especially if we got people around here, terrorists, anarchists, the Republican Party of all sorts. We have to defend ourselves. Even though I choose to be very pacifist and conscientiously, gosh, I have trouble with that word. I'm very pacifist and conscientiously objective against most violence. But these days, it seems like I don't have a choice. Not anymore. Especially if we've been getting a lot of crime rates that have been taking place. I tell you, with the way that the Republican Party has been acting up on us and trying to oppose our movement, Black Lives Matter, it just seems to be one of the worst possible cases that they just want to start acting up. I mean, these people out there, they are terrible. You have people who have literally invaded the Capitol in Washington, D.C. for a reason. I tell ya, the Republican Party has now shown its true colors, and now everybody that's been in the party is now going to get the finger pointed at them. Specifically for the events that happened January 6, 2021. I won't really go into much further detail on it, but the thing is, aside from the many political things that have taken place, Black Lives Matter sure has taken a toll on our country as a whole. But it's for a good reason. Me and my fellow liberals are indeed making this place much safer, much more manageable, and much more tolerable than the likes of what the Republican Party has been putting us through all this time. But just to avoid getting off track, I might as well just simply state that firearms as a whole are now becoming even bigger in terms of sales. And that's mostly because home invasions have been taking a huge increase. We've been getting a lot more robberies that have taken place. We've been getting a lot of we've been getting a lot of that kind of stuff. I tell ya. We've tried to change the nation, but then, of course, the Republicans, bureaucrats, anarchists, terrorists, insurrectionists, and many other people have been trying to oppose us. They're simply, acting out on us by doing their own way of crime. They've been doing all of this, whereas we're doing nothing. Nothing wrong. Nothing but peaceful protests after all the BS that's been thrown out against us. But the thing is, how do we stop all of these things from happening? Why, you get a weapon, of course. I've got my own choice when it comes to weapons. And I cannot also forget the fact that I've actually been trained, because it seemed to be a mandatory thing nowadays, to at least be trained and have a license for firearms. And even though I'm not quite there yet, their chances are that I will indeed get to the point where I will at least have full training, full certification, and a full firearms license here in the state of Wisconsin. So I will at least be backed up by the so-called Second Amendment, which is something that we all need to have, but no. Nobody ever said that it was a requirement to have a firearm, regardless of what it is, regardless of if it's locked up or not, regardless of if it's in the home or office or whatever. No one has ever said that that's the law. But what kind of choice did I have? I had a lot of peer pressure and a lot of orders that have been taken up, especially from my own peers. And the thing is, how can I possibly disrespect them? But anyways, I don't know about you, but this is pretty much just another turning point here in our lives. And because this was next up on the list, I guess it feels good for me to at least get this out of the way. So, for number 20 in Survival of No Limits, firearm checks. Yeah, I might as well go into detail on that pretty quickly. The way you check a firearm, depending on what model it is, depending on what type it is, be it a handgun, rifle, shotgun, LMG, grenade launcher, rocket launcher, or even a ballistic knife. It is certainly important to keep checking the firearm whenever possible. Of course, I've had a lot of practice by handling several different pistols and a couple rifles pretty much. I've at least held a lot of weapons during my time, way before I was even legal enough to be able to at least handle one. Of course, some people can actually handle real firearms even below the age of 21, because here in Wisconsin, it does seem that most of us who are below 21 can now at least have the ownership of a certain weapon or usage of a weapon of anything. So of course, that's pretty much just how it works here in the state, but in other states it can be different. So of course, try to consult with the NGA or the NRA about possibilities of being able to at least obtain a firearm license, or how you can own or use a weapon with ease. There do exist a lot of shooting ranges nowadays that you can go to if you have to, at least practice on your shots. But for me, I'd much rather just leave all that alone. Because not only am I an American liberal, proudly going on wearing the color red, which I'm not doing right now, but surely someday you will see me wearing red again. But other than all that, I'm very pacifist, conscientiously objective, and highly keen on what could happen next. I choose to use words to try and solve issues, because there's always, and I mean always, a way that people can in fact do this differently, rather than just going the conventional way of firing a bullet in someone's head, which would not at all be humane. So of course, that's the end of that. And hopefully that's the end of all this stuff, and hopefully that's the end of all political stuff that I hopefully have to ever talk about here on the channel ever again. But I tell you, there's way more than you could ever possibly imagine when it comes to talking about things that you must learn to know how to survive, or many different things out there that you can use to keep your survival skills at ease. So that's it for right now, but if you want to see more, go down to my channel. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.